All right, guys. ¿Qué pasó? What's going on? This is Hala Pablo. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm pretty much blown away, man. If you were to ask me a couple weeks ago, would Bitcoin break 60 in this bull run? I would have said it can't do it. It's not going to do it. I would have totally bet against it. But yeah, as usual with with Bitcoin, man, I got my ass handed to me. And so, yeah, you just drive on. There's really never been anything like Bitcoin, something that is just so blatantly just disregarded technical analysis and just the greed dynamic is so great. The magnitude of greed in Bitcoin, it's the most precious commodity on earth right now. It really is. It's digital gold, and because of that, the just the intensity of interest in Bitcoin is just unbelievable. And so, what happens is when you get such an extreme greed factor, it just technical analysis just gets blown to smithereens. Everyone's technical analysis. So yeah, I've been actually macro bearish on Bitcoin, and I still am. I still am macro bearish, although on the micro, obviously, it's bullish as hell. And I imagine it's going to continue to be bullish before the big retracement comes, the Great Depression. And I believe that is coming. I still hold by that. I just don't know when. I don't know how much further this thing is going to go, although I can't really see it going that much further, just simply because it's it has no substantial foundation to go that much higher. It's like when you want to build a skyscraper, you have to lay a foundation. You just can't build a mega skyscraper on flat Earth without first going into the Earth deeply and laying the foundation with steel. And there's really not much of a foundation to substantiate this kind of pump other than it's just greed. It's just people just throwing money and just jumping in it. And we all know how that ends up. So yeah, like I was telling my group yesterday, I actually jumped in against my better judgment when it hit 60. I said, what the hell? I threw in 2 grand. I made a $2,000 entry at, I believe like I wrote it down, 60. It was at 60,000, 60.6, 60,600. And I got in. And as soon as I got in, I was like, what the hell am I doing? Because this thing was nuts. And I didn't even know if I'd be able to get back on the Coinbase to like limit sell it. So as it turned out, Coinbase had an outage along with all the other exchanges in the U.S., the centralized exchanges. But I was able to limit sell and get the hell out at 63,000. So and here we sit again, and now look, we're at 63.2, and so anyway, yeah, I'm not getting back in. I realize that this thing can keep going. I mean, we've almost mitigated the prior high, of 60, 68 or whatever it was back in back in November of 21, the all-time high. I mean, I think we're gonna hit it. We're gonna mitigate it. This huge liquidity void. It's like a gigantic macro freaking cup and handle, doesn't it? Doesn't it look like that to you? I mean, these two mitigation points here. So yeah, this is a macro liquidity void that is, in essence, being freaking mitigated. Now, normally counter trends after a peak, they don't go all the way up and like mitigate. They usually come up kind of close to it, but like maybe 20 or 30% beneath it, and then they start having the sell-offs, kind of like what we saw here. Let's see. Let me go. Let me put this on the 3 day. Let's try it on the 3 day. Maybe see. Okay, so I I've been contending that this area, let me get my brush. This area here is, in essence, this area here. Okay? So we had this macro buying climax. Now this was the last quadruple cycle. So we had the bear side. I mean, we had the bulls. The bull market, the bear market, and then we had the counter trend, and then we had the sell off, and then we had the reversal. So it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that was the last cycle. If you think about these as quarters, 4 quarters to $1, that's usually how these cycles run. So, and then we'd have 1, 2. I'll go ahead and write it up here. So this would be the 1. We have the macro buying climax. 2, the low, which would correspond to this here. And then we've had the counter trend. 3, wherever this tops out at, and then the sell-off. 4 of the counter trend. Usually the counter trend tops do not go as high as the initial selling climax, or rather the buying climax of 1. 3 does not normally go as high as 1, but it looks like 3 is going to go as high as 1 in this cycle, and that's what's kind of confounding. It's crazy. So like I said, there really hasn't been anything like this. So it's unprecedented. But I believe there is going to be a sell-off eventually. Like I said, this kind of pump, this kind of wedge on steroids, macro wedge on this rising wedge on steroids has really no substantiated ground to justify this kind of pump. Now, let me get rid of this here. Remove drawings. I want to show you something. Let's go back to this prior cycle here with this counter trend. See, remember, this is this. Okay, so this top is wherever we're going to end up here. This top will be this top. So this pump, this counter trend that we had back in, when did it start? Back in March of 2019. If you take it from the lowest to the top of the counter trend, it's 300, almost 366. It went up 366% before it sold off, before it reversed and sold off. Now, in contrast, how high have we gone? For this cycle, take it from absolute low, 15,000 or whatever it was. We'll just do 15. And bring it to the top of where we are now, 300. We've only gone 300%. So we went much, much higher this last cycle. But this cycle didn't predominate the previous buying climax. And it looks like this cycle will. It looks like we're fixing to go higher in this counter trend. Now, when this counter trend sells off, we can expect at least a 70% retracement. So if we do a retracement from the top of the selling climax down to the bottom of this remitigation of the lows, 74%, which is normal. That 74% for a macro retracement is about normal. Now let's go hypothetically, let's say that this peaks out right at the mitigate, although it may go much higher. Let's say we peak out right where like the previous high. I'll even go 69.5 for it. No, you know what? Let's do 70,000, and then we'll do 70% retracement on that. Or 75% retracement will take us back down to $17,000. And so I just want to say that when the bubble breaks, when the bubble bursts and the retracements come, and make no mistake, there will be a retracement and it will be bloody. Okay, guys? The market makers, informed interest, smart money, they are not going to let this thing go up to $1 million or whatever crazy stuff people are thinking, pie in the sky, $200,000 Bitcoin from here without a significant retracement. The blood is coming. They're going to take profit, and as dynamically as the greed took us all the way up to where we are now, there's going to be the dark side of the yin and yang. The fear is going to kick in once the sell-offs begin, and this is going to go down, and they are going to take profit, and it will be bloody, okay? And I mean, you could play around on this this pump here, but just be careful, because when the bottom falls out, it's swift, it's fast, and it's conclusive, and it comes down like a freight train. It's we talked about a skyscraper going up. It is an implosion. It's a collapse. You know, it takes a lot longer to build a skyscraper than it does to demolish it. So this is going to come down like a bag of rocks, and I don't want you to be caught way up here in the 70,000s. If you're going to do some momentum trade, or you're going to scalp it, that's fine. Like I said, I scalped it yesterday from 60 grand to 63 grand, and I got out. Make sure you set limit sells in case Coinbase or Kraken or whatever exchange you're using goes down. Don't get in this without a limit sell, is what I'm trying to say. Don't try to market sell it way up here, because right now we're still at 63.2, but I predict another wave of greed to come into this, and this is going to drive it up to at least close out this liquidity void, which would be the prior high, 68 grand, and it can go beyond that. At that point, it's a feeding frenzy, and all the sharks, everyone's just jumping in on the carcass. So don't get caught up in that. If you do, please limit sell, and just be careful. Now, what I think is going to happen, like this counter trend. Let's go back again and look at the counter trends from 4 years ago. This counter trend here. What normally happens on these tops is you have one big, you have that big FOMO pump in the beginning, and it comes back down, does a little retracement, and then you have other rallies that happen after that. And I could see that happening here as well. See how you have these are actually Wyckoff distribution ranges up on top. This is a Wyckoff distribution. This is a Wyckoff distribution. This is the LPSY of a Wyckoff top. So we have the buying climax. This whole area right here would be the UTAD. If you were to do like a Wyckoff macro distribution here, the point is that we could have separate rallies. There could be another rally coming, which there most likely will be, which will come down, and then another FOMO rally that will take it even higher, just like this point came up higher than this initial buying climax, and the same here, and the same here. I call them horns of the devil, because they shoot up, they entice you to jump in, and then they go red when they dump. But they don't dump all the way. So they come back here and reconsolidate a bit, and then you get another horn and another horn. Sometimes there's triple horns. So I don't know, because we're in unprecedented territory right now with Bitcoin. I really don't know how many horns there's gonna be, but all of these horns here, of whatever happens, just like here, comprise a top of a crown, and the crown being a distribution. And when this distribution finally bleeds out, I don't know how high it's going to go, but when it finally does, anything in this area right now, I mean, you got to be really, you have to be so careful. Like I said, we're on, as far as I'm concerned, we were on thin ice back at $50,000 above 53 grand. So we're on real thin ice right now, and you're just playing with fire. So eventually the floor is going to fall out, the ice is going to break, and you're going to fall into people holding bags. You're going to fall into the water, into the ocean. And like I said, dude, the ocean is deep on this one, because we've gone up high. This is a high ass liquidity void right here that we've pretty much mitigated, this cup and handle here. So the neckline, around the neckline, we're going to go up a little higher, and we're going to have some horns. You could momentum trade the horns, but at some point the ice is going to break and you're going to fall through. And like I said, the ocean is deep. How deep? Well, I just showed you. It's about a 70% retracement. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, and there's a whole area down here. If we say this is the neckline where we are right now, 60,000 or whatever. Everything under that is just it's gonna just dump, and it's gonna retrace on the way down, just like here. People were saying that this is going. Here, I want to show you something and I'm gonna sign off on this because I got to look at other coins. But I mean, look how conspicuous this is here and here. See, we have these waves, these Elliott waves. And then we have these basically parabolic pumps on the macro, like we've seen here. Then they top out. This area right here, this is a major profit-taking area. This is where they're putting the brakes on the party's almost over, they're saying. But they don't, those of us that are savvy with Wyckoff recognize this. Now, we don't know how much longer the party's going to go on, but we know that the cops have been summoned. Let's just say a rowdy party, and the neighbors have called the cops. The cops have been summoned. We just don't know when the cops are going to get there. They may be out investigating a robbery or whatever, and they're going to get to the party when they're done. So the party goes on and on and on, but the authorities have already been alerted. That's what this signifies, this area here. And let's see if I could pull up an Elliott wave on it. Yeah. You see, now this is the Elliott wave on the macro here. So it's saying, so this was the 5, just like this was the 5 here. And then we had the ABC correction. A would take it back down. B, so this is saying that we are at the top of this of the B wave, which is a corrective wave going up on a macro retracement, on a macro correction from the Elliott wave that we had back. I mean, this is all the same Elliott wave that began back in March of 2020. And so they're saying this, according to this Elliott wave schematic, we've already topped out, or we're topping out at B, whatever the counter trend top is going to be. And then C is going to retrace further. Now, this has it down to the going down to $10,000. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go down to 10,000 when it retraces, but what we looked at, 75% retracement is feasible and pretty much normal for these sort of macro movements, and that brings us back down to where we were, our prior lows, maybe right above it or somewhere therein, and that would also coincide with the deep spring before the real reversals happen, and then we go up again, kind of like what we saw here in the old range that we looked at. Ooh, let me get rid of this. Remove drawings. Yeah. See how this like liquidity void was almost mitigated. It didn't come quite up, but it still went higher than we are now, even though it doesn't look it. This is actually 370% from bottom to top here. And then we went back down and we remitigated the lows here. This is what I mean. They sold up here. The market makers sold up here. This is all liquidity, guys. They bought low, they sold high, they sold into the pump. Liquidity, they gathered liquidity to buy very, very aggressively down here. And this was the actual bull reversal, because then it remitigated it after the two corrective wave on this macro Elliott was the reversal point, where the bull reversal point of 2020. So, but first it remitigated the lows, and it came almost as low as where it was before, like 3,000. So I don't know, we'll see. But like I said, everything is kind of crazy right now, but I'm going to keep watching this. And yeah, I'm not in it. I don't think I'm going to momentum trade Bitcoin anymore, but I am in some of the alts. We've been swinging some alts. We've done about 10 alts in my group. of the 10, two, I think we lost out on two, shipping and Litecoin. I'll pull up charts on my next video because this is going on too long, but I'll share some of the swings that we've done. I'll let you know our preliminaries, when we got in and when we got out, and the percentage of gains that we made. We made about 100% gains last week, or last week. So even in the midst of all this, swinging the alts and with momentum trading or scalping Bitcoin, we still did pretty good. So, but we got to be careful. Be careful, guys. All right. Thank you very much. If you got anything out of this, like, subscribe, check out our trading group, check out my charts on TradingView, look at my chart history, and yeah, leave a comment. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. I'm going to go back and look at these. Look at these coins. I'm going to see. Oh man, Bitcoin is just hovering at 63, so it's consolidating, or it's crabbing, as some people say right now, but I think it's going back up. We're going to have a volume spike. So yeah, keep watching it. Strong hands, and I'll talk again soon with you. Not financial advice. None of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just like you, and I don't have a crystal ball, but I do have lots of coffee, and I'm going to brew some more now. So have a good one. All right, guys, take care. We got this. Bye-bye.